This video will describe the production of this micro double dizzy bowl. This double dizzy bowl is very similar to the previous dizzy bowls I've made, such as this miniature double dizzy bowl, but this is much smaller. This double dizzy bowl is only 2.5 inches tall. It contains 75 of these layered discs, each disc containing 33 pieces of wood and about an inch, inch and a quarter in diameter. And each of these discs is only 25 thousandths of an inch thick. And these are glued on my glue-up jig to produce these, layered disc sets, and then these are combined to give me my total pattern for my double dizzy bowl. Then I added 2 rings, top and bottom, which are 24 segments per ring of walnut to complete the double dizzy bowl. So in total, this small miniature double dizzy bowl has over 5,000 wood exposures in its outer surfaces. I'm ready to start construction of my micro double dizzy bowl. I'll be following the same kind of format I made for this miniature dizzy bowl that I made in the previous video, but this new dizzy bowl is only going to be 2.5 inches tall. I'll be using these same discs that I used for the rings that I made in the previous video. Each of these discs is about an inch, inch and a quarter in diameter. They're 50 thousandths of an inch thick, and each disc contains 33 pieces of wood. So it'll be 33 pieces of wood times 50 of the disc. And then the top and bottom will be made from this segmented ring. This contains 24 segments of walnut, going to a perfect point in the center. I'll be cutting off a slice of this for the top of my double dizzy bowl, and the biggest portion will be the base of the double dizzy bowl. So I'll start by gluing up my segments, rotating each one probably about 1 or 2 degrees. I'll be doing that by the pattern, such that the rings, the red segments just touch each other as I go up, and I'll show that at a close-up as I start gluing this up. So I've got a pattern all laid out. I did my pattern in the Woodturner Pro software. Each of these layers here is actually 5 of these segments, and then I'll have of course my top and bottom rings. So now I'm ready to start gluing up using my glue-up jig, the same glue-up jig I used to make my rings. These laminated discs used for this project are the same discs that were used for my previous project on making the dizzy rings. This involved a multi-step process which involved slicing the boards on a bandsaw, gluing them together to produce a laminated board, cutting round discs on the scroll saw, and then slicing those once again on the bandsaw. So for details on making these laminated discs, see my video on making the dizzy rings. Glue-up is the most time-consuming part of the operation. As a result, I'm running 3 sets of discs, because each disc needs to set maybe at least 5-10 minutes before you glue on the next disc, so they don't slip and come apart. So I'm doing 3 sets of 10 discs, just rotating through each piece. And in doing so, I'm keeping real close alignment of, first of all, the black mark that I put on my disc, so I don't get these things rotated 180 degrees. Otherwise, we're talking about tolerances of thousandths, 2,000ths of an inch, and the disc could be slightly different in rotating 180 degrees. So I always try and keep the orientation the same, and then making sure the alignment is perfect going from one disc to the next. So let me go through a set of 3 here. I already have 5 of the laminated discs glued together on the glue-up jig, as described in the dizzy ring video. So now I'm just adding the next laminated disc to the glue-up jig. And I do coat both surfaces. Make sure you get good coverage. And then the excess glue that squeezes out, I wipe off. So first of all, I get my black marks in my alignment, so I know that I'm close to where I want to be. And then I get my next pieces aligned, and I'm aligning on the edges here, and I am using a magnifier because I'm getting real accurate alignment. And I press it a little bit to set it a little bit, and wipe off the excess glue. Check my alignment on both sides. Put on my clamping piece and push out some excess glue and wipe it off with my stick. I especially wipe it where I'm checking my alignment to make sure it just didn't move as I clamped it. It usually moves a little bit, so I have to twist it. And then I apply 2 clamps, one on each side. That squeezed out some more glue, which I wipe off. Double check my alignment. And when I know it's good and I have my lines clear and alignment's accurate, put 2 more clamps on. The process continued for the remaining 3 sets of disc until a total of 10 layers of laminated boards have been glued into each of the sets. Well, these are my sets here of 10 disc, each 25,000 of an inch thick, glued together to make a disc which is about a 1/4 inch thick. And then I glued 5 of these sets together to make this set of 50 of my disc. And I'm going to probably add another 30 discs. I need between 80 and 90 discs to make this micro double dizzy bowl. So now we add additional layers to this by again putting one of our 1/4 inch dowels through the center, sending it on here and lining up my patterns and making sure my pieces are exactly aligned with my marks. So now we're ready to put some glue on here and glue it up. Now I'm ready to glue up my 24 segments. And I have 4 of these discs, each 50,000 inch thick, and I'm going to be mounting in my glue jig here and rotating each one a half a segment so that you get stronger joints. The segment walnut disc shown previously was cut on the bandsaw using the Accu-Slice system to produce disc 25,000 of an inch thick and each containing 24 walnut segments per layer. 4 of the discs are then glued together, rotating each successive layer by 1/2 of a segment. Each additional layer is lightly clamped together just using finger pressure to set the glue. After a few seconds, the next layer is then added. Sets of 4 of the 24 segment walnut rings were glued up, clamped, and allowed to dry overnight. The next day the glued segmented ring sets were sanded to reduce the overall diameter to about 1.5 inches. Then one set of the segmented walnut rings was glued to the top and the second set to the bottom of the stack of 75 laminated disc. I'm ready to start turning this micro double dizzy bowl. This bowl, when it's done, will be about 2.5 inches tall. It contains 75 layers of these laminated disc, each disc being 25,000ths of an inch thick. There's 33 pieces of wood per disc. In addition, I have 2 top and bottom pieces. These are made from a 24 segment disc, and there's 4 layers in each of these pieces. So there's a total of 96 pieces in each of these 2 layers. So with the exposure of the different edges of the wood in this disc, there'll be over 5,000 pieces of wood in this micro double dizzy bowl. So now I'm ready to take this to the lathe
And I'll be gluing this to a faceplate on the lathe, and then we'll start turning it. Well, I'm ready to start turning my micro double dizzy bowl, and I've glued my pieces to a faceplate on my lathe, and I'm ready to start turning it. And I have my drawing of exactly what I want to do. In fact, I actually have a scale drawing, so it's more accurate to exactly what I'm doing. And I am using the Hunter tools. I found that the carbide tip tools work best for doing these dizzy bowls because there's so much glue, especially epoxy, in all these surfaces, that it really chews up your bits. So the carbide bits work much better. So let me start by just roughing it out, get the general shape, and then we'll start turning it.
I'm starting the initial turning of the micro double dizzy bowl using the Hunter Badger straight tool. This carbide tool uses a number 3 carbide cutter to smooth out the surfaces of this project. I then switch to the Hunter small tapered straight tool. This tool is designed for small projects and uses a small carbide cutter, which enables me to refine the shape of the small curves in this project. Notice that I'm using this tool by turning the carbide cutter to the right to about 45 degrees. I have found that this orientation of the cutter provides for the optimum performance of this tool. The Hunter small tapered straight tool also enables me to turn the inside of this small diameter project. I continue to refine the shape of the micro double dizzy bowl using the Hunter small tapered straight tool. After the turning was complete, I sanded both the exterior and interior of the micro double dizzy bowl, starting with 200 grit sandpaper, followed by 320 and then 400 grit sandpaper. A final sanding was done using 4/0 steel wool. The micro double dizzy bowl was then cut off the faceplate using a parting tool, and finally cut off completely using a fine-tooth saw. I will finish the micro double dizzy bowl by hand sanding the bottom. Finally, I will give it 2 coats of bush oil to seal the wood pores. After allowing it to dry for 24 to 48 hours, I will then give it several coats of polyurethane. This is the finished micro double dizzy bowl. Although this project is only 2.5 inches tall, it contains more than 5,000 wood pieces exposed on its outer surface. The 24 segment walnut rings on the top and bottom also give this project a unique appearance. This micro double dizzy bowl completes my set of 4 of the double dizzy bowl projects. The largest double dizzy bowl is 24 inches tall and contains more than 60,000 wood exposures on its outer surface. This project took me more than 12 weeks to complete. All 4 of these double dizzy bowls will be on display at the 2019 AEW show in Raleigh, North Carolina.